We've come around to the penultimate game for NAL Playday number 6. TSM against Astralis, a red-hot Astralis roster and a World Championship squad still struggling to find a win. I think the key probably isn't theme park, but we'll jump into it. Anderson, Chick, D'Apollonio on the analyst desk with you. We've got a pregame to break down, and I don't really know what people expect from TSM at this point, but all we have to look at is an Astralis roster that is incredibly impressive right now.
TSM in shambles, Jacob.
Yeah.
This is a rough start to the season for our boys TSM, the world champions. We expected so much for them. We expect major should be obvious. First place should be relatively likely. Right now, I think they're sitting, correct me if I'm wrong, 8th out of 10 teams. It's
with both Sonics and Mirage below them, yeah.
Yeah, that's really, really rough right now for TSM. So wanting to get a win on the board, but this is going to be a tough game. I think Astralis have looked so good this stage.
Yeah, Astralis are one of the biggest surprises of the entire stage if you don't count Beast Coast, because Astralis, all you did is make some slight tweaks. Out goes Retro, in comes Forest, as well as on the coaching side, in comes Callout, and all of a sudden, boom, completely different team, new identity, fresh, exciting, and absolutely a joy to watch.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look at some standings real fast just to help set the stage for where we're at the current minute. There is not a possibility of a team getting knocked out of major contention so far with this play day, but just to put things in perspective, Sonics, 4 straight losses, Mirage, 5 losses. Neither one of them are mathematically out of the picture just yet. However, TSM is only 1 point above them. Astralis currently in 3rd place with SSG's loss because of the round differential. That might change based upon the results of this game, but both teams, you would think under normal circumstances like last year, their position should be flipped, right?
Yeah, that's what you'd be expecting with the world champs TSM versus Astralis, who have been kind of constant 6th, 7th, 5th, kind of that area of this leaderboard all of last year. I will say it's great for Astralis, especially because this is like a young team that has seen so much improvement over the off seasons. A lot of young players that have been moving together. They've been kind of an established core for the last year or so, but a lot of them hadn't been in the NAL previously. So to see them move from kind of this middle of the pack table to now this year being one of the top teams in the league, hopefully they can continue through stages 2 and 3. That's a huge improvement and really a sign that like if you stick together, if you grind as a squad, you can really move up in the world.
Yeah, and for the side of TSM, things are worrying. It's kind of upsetting to see a team go in and obliterate the top teams in the world. No exaggeration. Quite literally the best teams in the world fighting at the 6th Invitational. They lift the hammer, and now they're losing to the likes of Mirage, who are really struggling. The only points that Mirage have are against TSM.
That is what? How?
Yeah.
How are we in this threshold right now? I mean, other than the fact that TSM have gone to theme park 3 times, lost it 3 times, are we now at a point where they just say, if we go to that map again, we've kind of lost the whole season? Do they dare do it a 4th time after 3 straight losses on it?
I mean, thank God theme park was removed from the map pool a year or so ago so that they didn't have to play it at SI. Because if that had happened, we might see a completely different non-North American world champion.
I mean, they probably just would have done what Sonics did with Cafe and just perma-banned every single time just because of this performance. I mean, I don't blame them for thinking that back when it was in the map pool originally, maybe they do something, but still, what do you do?
I don't know, I think they would have played it every game, Jacob. That seems to be their playbook so far.
Ouch. A little bit too soon. It's still kind of raw. TSM, current world champions, talk about them real fast. Obviously, the struggles are really only coming out on one map. They do have another loss. Or sorry, they don't have another loss that is nearly of the same magnitude at the moment. That one win, not bad, got in the first week. Everyone just kind of assumed, hey, this is probably just a little bit of a hiccup because otherwise it seems like they're on track. They're most definitely not on track when it's actually game day right now.
Yeah, the biggest thing is there were no changes in the roster from SI just a couple of weeks, maybe a month or 2 ago.
There weren't even really role changes.
Yeah, there were no role changes, no roster changes. The only change, Achieved lost all of his hair, and Geo went ahead and dyed his. That's kind of it. And those are superficial changes that shouldn't have an impact inside the server. But with all the interviews that we've had with Merc, talking with coaches like Gotcha, even with Bolo, the changes have been they can't quite get the aggression under control when they're supposed to push, when they're not, and it's just BO1 syndrome.
Yeah, it can be really nerve-wracking in a best of 1, right? Because every round matters so much to win or lose that game. And I think that Gio is a player that has seemingly not really had the impact. Not that he's playing poorly, but just that he's not in those positions to have the same impact that we saw from him at SI. It felt like during the 6th Invitational, he was making plays on defense time and time again. He was in these aggressive spots, going for swings, going for big flanks, and I've seen a lot less of that so far in the NAL. Again, not that he's failing at them necessarily, but just that he's going for fewer opportunities. So maybe that's something where TSM just have to say, screw it, we got to go, send it right now, get in for some of these flanks and make something happen. Because right now, passive scared TSM is not looking too great in the NAL.
No, there is a very clear difference between this team and the team that went to the Six Invitational. The only main difference being when they were at SI, they didn't have a whole bunch of time to prep in between when they won the qualifier, when they went to the event. So they decided we're going to adapt on teams on the fly based upon when we played them and just come up with not necessarily pocket strats, but obviously what they did was working incredibly well. But now teams have figured out not only what they were doing, and VOD reviewed them from the Six Invitational, but it feels as though they're still kind of stuck in that rut where they don't want to go for massive plays in the best of one.
Yeah, and it kind of doesn't make sense because you now have the inclusion of attacker repick. At least in your attacking half, when you're getting really flowy and really just kind of flexible and can change so many things, for it to not happen, and that's where the success that was found at Six Invitational came from, it now should be easier to replicate that, but it still isn't happening.
Jesse, talk to me about the man on the far right side of the screen, Bolo. Obviously, we've highlighted the struggles so far, but we do have a couple things we want to touch on more specifically, just so the guys at home have a better understanding of what we need to look out for in this game.
Yeah, Bolo, Jason, Bolo. Listen, Bolo's had a rough start to the season, but there have been some positive moments. This is one of them I wanted to show you guys.
Oh, yeah.
It's a defensive round. He's being fed information from Charles Yokai, and he hits such a nice shot on the Canadian. I love the way that he was able to play this round because it can show that Bolo is a very strong roamer. He's a very strong defender, but he hasn't always shown that to us so far this stage. This round was one of his highlights where he was able to get a lot of these kills, very aware of where the attackers are coming from, really punishing everybody. Even that last one, managing to get the trade and with the rest of his team to shut that down. So Bolo, although he's had a bit of a rough start so far, it felt like this was one of those examples where he is actually being able to step up, contribute to the team, and as we saw right there, contribute to TSM winning a defensive round.
Right, but that's not always the case. There's a lot of times where we've seen him out of whack on a couple of defensive positions, especially when we're playing Theme Park. It feels like it's kind of done the same over and over again. Round 7 and 9, what are we looking at with this comparison?
So this was actually some problems going on with the attack, the way that he's been able to push into the bomb site. Unfortunately, it hasn't really been all successful for him. Playing on the Finca, trying to make something happen with the LMG, sometimes it's tough. There are entries here, right? We see him getting his kills, and this is, again, goes back to my point. He's not a bad player. We saw him win the World Championships, but sometimes he does struggle, I think, on these executes, and in this round in particular, sometimes the nade placement could be a little stronger.
Yeah, and probably the biggest thing is, we're putting Bolo under the magnifying glass, but it's because he has that capability. He has the potential, and sure, that nade is so incredibly close. We're talking about a world champion right here. We expect perfection, and that's kind of what you need against a high-powered roster like Dark Zero, where you have little tiny mistakes add up. All of a sudden, Canadian can just read your mind and absolutely throw it back full force at you, and you lose.
Yeah, we've come over to round 9 after that failed grenade, and this is going to be another one where, unfortunately, sometimes the LMG play is just not 100%. NJR in a very strong position there in storage, trying to hold down the bomb site. TSM may be considering going for a window jump in to get this plant. 3v3, 25 seconds, burn the utility. Bolo just missing with the LMG. It's unfortunate, right? Because those are the kills he needs to get to convert these rounds and give TSM the wins that they are hunting for. But unfortunately, so far, he has struggled in the league.
The worst part about this is Gio did an interview with us yesterday and did mention that they like Theme Park overall. They think it goes really well in scrims, and Merc and Bolo usually do show up, sometimes even at the top of the scoreboard. Nice to see, creating impact. Roams are usually working out really well on defense, except on game day so far 3 times in a row, it's resulted in Bolo having one of the lowest, if not the lowest defensive stat in the league so far for a usually top 4 squad.
Yeah, I think it's second lowest right now in the entire league on defense. So when you're showing up to game day, I mean, you've got to bring that scrim energy. I don't know if it's just the mentality or if it's their opponent's play, what's happening that's not converting from scrims to games, but something needs to come through.
All right, well, on the opposite side of the coin, talk about Astralis a little bit. We don't want to say that TSM is only having losses because of 1 or 2 players that aren't really working together, but it looks like Astralis, everybody is working fantastically on this team so far. We've highlighted Iconic, we've seen DP Fire also get an MVP award, but it doesn't look as though anyone on this team is a slouch right now.
Yeah, no, they're all firing on all cylinders, and every single person has their role, and they're filling it almost flawlessly. One of the biggest questions would be, hey, what's been happening with Shuttle? Didn't have that great of a stage. I think it was Sam yesterday was like, hey, yeah, Shuttle, he's got maybe 1 year left in the tank. All of a sudden, he's looking like a rookie, and all just new life breathed into him. Looks absolutely phenomenal, and the energy on this team, they all just work so well together. If Iconic starts yelling, then you look to the side, and you see Forrest jumping up and down, and then DP Fire is throwing his words into the mix. They're an exciting group that works so well together.
Yeah, I think Astralis, like last week, we were able to see the strengths of this team on attack. We saw some big individual plays, mostly from DP Fire, but really their strong point, I thought, was their team play. The droning from Forest was fantastic. It seemed like they were able to get a lot of really well-timed pushes in their game against Dark Zero. I really liked what I was seeing from Astralis in their coordination, their pushes. And then yesterday, what we saw from them was really good defensive play. They won 4 out of their 4 defensive rounds. They got every single opening pick against Parabellum, who are a team that are known for their strong defensive opening picks. So I really love that from the squad. Everybody contributing on that half, everyone getting an opening pick except for Forrest, who's playing on the hard support. So I think Astralis, they're the whole package. You got the attack, you got the defense, and at this point, it might just be coming down to shutting down a world champion TSM.
Best part about this Astralis roster is that it always felt like they had more of a ceiling to them, whereas for a team that was comprised of a lot of veterans who tried to stick together and combine forces, it sometimes would feel like they'd get more lethargic or they maybe didn't have a whole bunch left in the tank. Not a problem with this Astralis team. All it took, one more player coming in, coach actually giving them the direction that they required, and now they're looking at potentially locking in a major spot. Again, nothing official as of today, but this game matters a hell of a lot. And where are we going to decide if they're actually going to make that top 4?
Well, the talking point with these two teams have both been around the maps. TSM, they only play Theme Park and they're very bad at it. Astralis, they play all the new maps. Theme Park, Border, and Skyscraper have all looked very good for them. Those are the 3 brand new maps. We start with TSM banning out the Border. That's going to be one, again, that I just mentioned.
It's not Theme Park, so
very
I'm
good.
waiting on that ban.
There needs to be a Theme Park here. We're going to meme them so hard.
There we go.
Thank you for the theme ban. We really appreciate it, TSM. Now maybe able to win a couple of rounds. We'll come through a Cafe. That's one they haven't played so far on this stage. And then Chalet coming through. They did play that one once. It was a game against Sonics and OXG, both 7-3 scorelines. So that one a little bit of a back and forth one. And we see TSM banning all 3 of the new maps.
Yeah, and so far, we've said that, Astralis have always been good on those new maps, but it also just happens that maybe TSM are reading into that and just starting to ban away all the maps that they've seen Astralis have success.
Yeah, look at that.
And kind of all the maps that they've played in general, because even with TSM banning away that Oregon, that was a lost map for Astralis, the only time they really looked human against Oxygen. And now we go towards a Villa, which, Villa has always been a pretty solid map in the side of TSM, and we haven't really seen anything new on the side of the Astralis Villa, so that's a really unknown quantity. But at least for TSM, their philosophy going into this ban stage, take away the new success of Astralis, and kind of play into their confidence of having a deep map pool, just wherever else they want to go, they're still comfortable.
Interesting part about this, it looked like TSM also banned out every single map that Astralis have played thus far, forcing Astralis to play something new. We'll jump over to the casters and ask them this question. Blue, Stokes, any idea if forcing Astralis onto a different map is actually going to give TSM the win here, or are they just so far off the wagon that it's not recoverable?
I don't know. It's looking rough right now for TSM, so I can't really, in good faith, put a prediction their way just because the games have, they've been close occasionally, but it just doesn't seem like TSM is in the same form as they were when they won SI. So for me, the prediction is going to lean pretty heavily into Astralis. They've been on point here. They've been showing us some great stuff, and I think they're going to take this win today as well.
Sam, are you going to say I completely agree again?
Well, when you put it that way, Jacob.
I'm just asking.
I mean, TSM, they definitely have not been hot to trot here initially for stage 1. My eggs are all going in the basket of Astralis, especially with how good Iconic has looked. I don't think the map change-up is going to do too much, but I will say this. I think today is the day for TSM. I honestly think we got a banger on our hands.
So you're saying one, you're hoping for the other. This kind of feels like
I just hope that everybody has a good time, Jacob.
No, but it sounds like you're hoping that the Patriots win, so your prediction is correct, but you're rooting against the Patriots because that's what everyone did when they won every Super Bowl. That's what it sounds like.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I've made a lot of money off of New York. Oh my goodness, New York. But usually I end up rooting against them. Absolutely.
All right, well, do we think the same over here? Do we just want to keep this one quick, Astralis, and then hope the coin goes our way or goes against us? What are we thinking?
Don't pick my prediction for me, Jacob.
What do you want?
SI and the qualifier, TSM went 5-1 on Villa over the last couple of months, losing only to Dark Zero, beat both Empire, FaZe Clan, and more. So yeah, I like the map. I'm going to go TSM. They finally feel like they're ready, and they are going to take this upset over Astralis.
All right, I'll keep mine fast, if nothing else, because apparently I can't put words in your mouth. Good on you for being defensive that way. I'll still pick Astralis only due to the streak that they've been on recently. It feels very disingenuous to not go for the team that's had this kind of success. And even though Call Out hasn't been in a coach position for very long, you'd think he'd be able to do something against TSM on a map that, even though they've won it a lot, they also have a whole bunch of VODs on them. So I'll stick with Astralis here. Does the coin agree or disagree?
The coin said I completely agree with those two over there as well as you and everybody but the Canadian. So it is going Astralis.
Really?
I feel good. This is my comeback. Look at that percentage. Better go up. 54, 58 or so coming up.
You could do math. You can do it so well.
That's a good
Spent
average.
like 5 years doing just nothing but numbers and spreadsheets.
I was going to say, his job is just this.
I still can't get math right.
I thought that was pretty good.
I don't know. What, did you actually do the mental math on it or no?
That's an estimate. I think it's pretty close. We'll see.
I don't know. We'll figure it out, as will the rest of us as we jump right into this bad boy. TSM versus Astralis. We'll jump straight in. John Mullen and Sam Stewart with the call.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. No delay on this one. We're getting right into the matchup here as we inch closer and closer to the end of our week of play at the NAL. As Stokes mentioned, this one should be a banger. Astralis has been on the run-up, and for TSM, they've been looking to recover their form that they found most recently at SI, of course, by lifting the hammer themselves. But up until this point, haven't really seen that come into full fruition just yet, but today might be the difference maker here. Astralis, a team that we've seen bring a very aggressive stance at the table, and we're going to have to see if that'll hold true against TSM, who also can sometimes show that themselves.
Yeah, Forrest and Callout have done something to this team, and it's something that has propelled them into currently the third place spot in our standings. They have the potential to take second away from Xset here today. Could be quite interesting, as you'd mentioned earlier. I am thinking that it is going to be, and fortunately enough for me and you, we're not going to have to wait long to find our answer. Villa's warming up now, ladies and gentlemen. We have the server online, and we are ready to go to sunny Italy to figure out who can potentially win things out here on this map.
Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen, as we are indeed going live now with the ban phase. TSM has the first and final ban, and Astralis has our two central bans. No surprises for the initial knockout, as Thatcher will be the first to go of our four to be eliminated, and Astralis don't seem to have too much delay on their choice. They're going to knock out Hibana, which has been the go-to hard breach operator, just more for convenience than anything, because you can choose the different pellet sizes, so they will remove that convenience from the table.
Yeah, terribly inconvenient when it comes to trying to play defense on a map like this. Almost unpreventable in a certain sense. So now down to the last offensive ban after Mira will be removed, and it's going to be Valkyrie. This one is to be expected. This is TSM's most banned defensive operator for Villa, and it's, again, to be expected because it is Villa. Valkyrie is fantastic on this map, and that's exactly why we won't see her here today.
So no huge surprises in the ban department. Let's go ahead and head into the server itself and see if we'll get anything a little bit crazier there. It's going to be a trophy and statuary hold initially for TSM as they'll get the defensive start here. Operator lineup is going to look a little interesting. Nothing too crazy coming out, though. Mainly just Merc going for the Legion choice, and we'll see Geo switch at the last second over to a K to doubly reinforce that triple wall.
So I don't know if you have any big questions or some big statements that you want to make about TSM from what we've seen previously, but for me, today we have got to see something out of Bolo and Merc. Up against Astralis, these two have got to play well together, and we need to see them take it to Astralis in the frag department. As much as I love seeing Geo go off, I don't want to see it in the same light that we have in recent history.
So it's time to see now if TSM changing up the map and changing up Astralis' own map choice that they'll play into is potentially going to change things for themselves. We had seen the theme park play over the last few games. It hasn't really been working out too well for them, but maybe Villa will fare a bit better, because even looking at the individual side of things, there's quite a few players on this TSM side that I have personally seen in the past seem very comfortable on this map and feel like they have a little bit more greater freedom to play around with it. Geo being the most notable one, but unfortunately we're not going to see that too much due to his role here. Always a chance he can come out in the clutch, though, if the need arises.
Absolutely the case, my friend, and you can say that about a lot of TSM's maps, but Villa definitely one of their best when it comes to their overall stat points on it. Have a 54% win rate on their offensive side and a little over 60% on their defensive side, so positive either way you slice it, and that's what you want to see. As for TSM, in the current moment, they're waiting on the arrival of Astralis, so begin their clear from the south side, looking to study as well as the lower set and the likes of Piano for shuttle. More than likely just going to try and and grab some angles here, but it's going to be an extended hold for TSM with Merc currently inside of Gun Vault. He'll have that vault reinforced for the single panel for 90, which Iconic will currently be locked into. Force with the initial frag with the Twitch onto Chala. He'll take down the Frost as Merc will pick up another, or at least inside of the round. Potentially his second for TSM, but Astralis instead will fire back, and it looks like the trade system is working out beautifully.
It's all Astralis right now as they're going to be able to shut down this opening attempt from TSM to get aggressive. TSM still having achieved position downstairs in Piano 2. This could be a bit of a double-edged sword position for him. Obviously, he could stab the Astralis push in the back and pick up some massive impact, or this could happen where he'll be left a bit awkwardly alone here. Yeah, he gets that throwaway kill versus Shuttle, but in the grand scheme of things, it means virtually nothing here. Forrest will be able to get the plant down with no more interruptions and achieved, doesn't even have a clean path to get himself upstairs. He's going to try to go for a pre-throw or nitro and just hope that someone was going to be waiting for him in the connector. Good intuition. Bad follow-through, unfortunately, as no one from Astralis is there. They have right into that in advance, and they're playing this about as far back as possible to waste as much of Achieve's time in the clutch. Already down to under 30 seconds, meaning he's got about 15 left to get on the counter defuse before the timer will play against his favor. And yeah, pretty much the expected result there as he finally swings just a bit too far into Astralis territory, and they chop his head immediately off.
Iconic pretty happy about that round, and you have to be as well. You can see the energy coming from the Astralis camp, and I mean, that's what you want for your team. You want that excitement to be there. It's always something that can help you, especially in those crunch moments where it seems like things could go either way. Astralis able to claim round one simply off of the buddy system, John. They did a better job of trading out than TSM did. They did a great job of taking map control away from them as well, and forcing their hand to try and deal with that study side attack, which actually ended up not being the main way that they were going to go. Immediately shifting things over to Master, taking control via that space instead, and getting the plant down successfully. It was really, really well done.
So some excellent stuff coming out from Astralis inside of the first round. Now it's going to be tested a little bit further to see if they can carry it forward on a consistent basis here. Forest, DP Fire, and Iconic all flirting with a repick right now. Shuttle as well, though his is much smaller in consequence. He's just picking up the old roll from DP Fire's switch. As you'll notice, the operators match up there. So actually, those two will just completely switch, apparently. Forest and Iconic will be our main focus here. So we're actually going to swap out a Finka and bring in a Twitch. And the Twitch as well that was initially picked by Forest will go away completely over to an OSA instead.
A lot of these OSA players starting to bring the 5.56 rifle instead of the PDW as well, which is something that we weren't initially seeing, but we've saw more and more in recent history, and it could just be a stylistic choice. Personally, I like the PDW. It's just got a lot of bullets, and that seems to be the name of the game in Rainbow Six Siege as of right now, so always a fun one. Oh, also the hip fire is pretty interesting, but the 5.56, it definitely hits. If there's anybody that's main Thermite for a little while, you know exactly what I am talking about.
Fragmite players out there.
Yes, sir. Like John Mullen is sitting over here. And speaking of fragmites, well, we'll get the frag part. Chala takes down J90, and that's going to be a huge trickle-down effect on Astralis' side, losing their Jackal.
Catches him right in the middle of the scan, so unfortunate turn of events for J90 as he'll lose that opportunity to not only track down the player, but of course the rest of his team's ability to track anyone throughout the rest of this round. Astralis, though, still seem to be moving forward without much of an interrupted pace here. DP Fire already working on finding access to the inside of Laundry, and they'll pop open that second barricade to push that theory forward even further. Getting upstairs access is going to be a big key piece of the puzzle, but I think Astralis has already pulled that off for the most part here, focusing almost entirely on just this Laundry push now. Forrest is first up to bat for that.
No
Nicely
way,
done
the
as he swings around just as the Nitro was being chucked by Merc. Horrible timing. The plan indeed is going down. Chala's attempting to swing in. Does DP Fire have the cutoff? No, apparently he doesn't. Shuttle's a little late to the party, although he'll get it after the fact here. Now someone else has to pick up the case, however. It's down to a 3v2. Gio in the middle of the site. He tries to save the day for the defense, but it's not going to work out as he goes down. And now Bolo is left alone in a clutch 1v3 with Gio still feeding him intel, but it's not going to matter. That Shuttle shuts every single player down nearly and clutches out the round again.
Somebody check the sunglasses. There's got to be something inside of those things that are powering this man up. Shuttle yet again popping off for Astralis. And this has been the entire stage so far. You guys heard about CDAPS, or heard CDAPS rather, talk about it on the desk. We honestly all thought maybe this is Shuttle's last year. We really don't know what's going to go down, but now he's looking like he's got a whole new lease on life, a breath of fresh air, and, well, 2 rounds up against the former Hammerlift.
Look at how top heavy the Astralis stats are right now. Shuttle's got 5 kills, Forrest has 4, and then J90 has 1. DP Fire and Iconic haven't even had to kill anyone yet because they just haven't needed to.
I mean, and also you got to remember somebody has to do the crappy jobs, man. That's the one thing that for Siege and a lot of our newer viewers at home, those hard support positions are probably some of the worst video game playing you can possibly do for your own mental health. It's just not a good time. You die a lot. You usually die trying to put a plant down. You really don't get gunfights, and a lot of time you're in a clutch position, and oh, by the way, it's always all your fault. So, you know, it is what it is. But for Astralis, as of right now, those supports are doing so much work. They're finding all this info for Astralis, and not only that, John, they are clearing so damn fast. This is like driving a Ferrari around this map right now.
The clear is so efficient that Astralis, once again for the second round in a row, are going to choose not to bring a Finka into play. They don't feel they really need it here, nor will they really need the frag grenades, as Shuttle will be the only one bringing those to the table currently. Instead, they've switched over to the Flores on Iconic, as they feel they need the utility clear a bit more prominently here than they potentially need to boost up from the Finka's adrenal surges or the nades that would come with her kit. So we'll see how that choice ends up working out for Iconic and the rest of Astralis as they once again focus on the early round top clear here. Going to open up the position, or try to, by the triple wall, but as you guys probably caught there, it has been mute jammed out, so won't be able to open that one up just yet. And Achieve still sits on the other side as Shuttle tries to once again make the opening move for this team, but he'll be caught this time. Is able to escape, however, before he goes fully down and has about a third of his HP left.
Be unfortunate there for Shuttle, but he'll still be able to stave off elimination, at least for right now. Astralis' first minute now gone. TSM have done a bang-up job of keeping them outside of the building. They're now shifting to the south side to try and reinsert themselves, but TSM are seemingly aware of this. Achieved adopting the master angle, one that we all know way too well from ranked, and Achieved almost becoming the victim of in the same breath.
Chief seems like he's had enough of it, so he's going to barricade up that wall one more time, or the door rather, and then back up to regroup with his teammates, more than likely downstairs or just above the site on a rotation point. We are halfway through the round. It seems like the extended game might have completed its job at this point, so could be good reason for them to start peeling that back. I say that, but we still have a pretty strong hold on the inside of AVG here, where Chala is continuing to maintain presence with at least one other player being somewhat nearby to support him.
Well, Astralis are doing their best to try and contest this top floor hold from TSM. It's quite important to their defensive setup down low that they try and prevent this verticality, and Chala already starting things off strong. Iconic will get one for us, will end up knocking down Chala, and now the vertical control completely in their hands. But the big issue is that Shuttle is actually dead, but so is Bolo. And as you said, this timing constantly eating away at TSM, as it seems like it's always Astralis' clock.
Just when you think TSM's going to cut ahead, someone from Astralis shows up right at the back of a TSM player and knocks them out. So once again, they'll falter here down into a 2v4 round. Not over yet, but now with that kill, it might as well be. Gio's the only one left standing, but an important pickup from him. Once again, though, man, these trades just so darn quick. Iconic knows that it's a solid run here. Settle it down. We've got this under control as they take yet another round for themselves.
Somebody hit the timeout. We need some Poge here to discuss some things, and I think that might be what we're getting the headsets down, and wouldn't you know, folks, it's a tactical timeout by TSM.
Full 3-round run from Astralis. That does not lead to any success for TSM, despite the inkling of there being some at the beginning of each round here. Astralis always managed to turn around their own fate and control these attacks here, as they're up 3-0 at the moment if you're just joining us over TSM. TSM now tries to take the pause. Poger's going to give the insight he can on what he's seen over this first run of the sites, and this will be right before TSM go back into it here, as they're going to be returning to Aviator in games for the first time since round 1.
Man, Bolo is thinking deeply about what is going on right now. You can just see, especially when you get the fidgeting going on, that's like dialed in.
Is that his mouse, or is that a cursor spinning?
No, I think he's just trying to make sure it actually works. I think that's what he's trying to do. He's like, is this thing actually on?
Or somebody's loading.
Yeah, no, he's locked in for sure. TSM are not happy about these results, and I mean, why the hell would you be? You are recent hammer lifters, and past that, at the very beginning of the stage, I had a conversation with Merc, and he was like, no, we haven't lost any of our energy at all. We want to try and run it back. And so far this year, it has not looked like a run it back year. That really needs to change up soon. And the biggest thing when it comes to that discussion is that, if you guys didn't know, right before SI, TSM shifted things up and kind of how they calmed inside of game. Merc is now the primary IGL, and he has been all the way through SI and a little bit inside of Stage 3 as well. And obviously, he's done quite a bang-up job since he, got a hammer in Sweden. But since then, TSM, they just simply haven't been able to get anything on the road. Currently 1-4 in the NAL. And to be honest with you, looking at the top of this screen, this is something that I thought I would never see this year. I mean, even with Astralis playing well, I thought they were going to play well, but I mean, I did not think TSM would look like this.
I mean, they've literally fallen off a cliff.
Yes.
In terms of ranking.
Like Mariana Trench level.
They've gone from literally the best team in the world to the second worst team in their own region in a matter of a month and a half.
Well, when you put it that way,
I'm just stating what's currently the facts. I'm not saying it can't change.
though that is indeed the Carfax, my friends. You are right about that one for sure. And what else we have going on is a round so far that hasn't had too much action. The drone game for Astralis out and about, but they're keeping this one close to the chest, at least initially. Some smokes in it. As soon as I say that, Force is going to hop too. Smokes out for Chala, but they won't be able to prevent Force from coming in and taking down Merc. The F2 is just too hard to fight, and Astralis is yet again going for it. Chala and Bolo will fight back, though, and they finally got a man advantage to play with. Iconic's going to take a little bit of damage from the smoke. Force trying to get rid of this single panel here for Gun Vault, so they actually have some vision here, but don't want to break it just yet, as this is the only safe haven that they have on the floor.
Yeah, it's very dangerous now for Astralis. Now they full committed to this with Iconic swinging in. No longer are they going to have any safe harbor to retreat from. Gio will catch the run out here, but he's going to miss the opportunity to pick up a kill. Instead, just throwing out one of those pieces of utility from Thorn in the event that he gets followed. Probably not going to be the case right now, as Astralis wanted to get the heck out of there, not stay in that 90 position. You can see they're now down in living room here. Going to probably re-rotate that to a different position to re-push back in, as all this action's transpired, and we're just under halfway through the round, so they have plenty of time to make this correction.
Absolutely. You can say the same for either of them. TSM, they've been able to find some pivotal positions, especially Geometrics currently inside of Master Closet. He's actually been discovered. He'll get shot in the rear here as the drone will discover him in Master. EE1D out, but luckily enough for him, he's found the angle. It won't be able to land the headshot. Forrest gets him instead. He's currently 8-1 through 4 rounds, a 2.0 KPR, and he's looking for more.
I know Gio was low there, but that's the second direct 1v1 that Forrest takes, and he was already injured from the first one he took after he swung in and still wins that one as well. Impressive stuff from Forrest and the entry power right now from Astralis, and TSM definitely are going to have to respect that on the 2 upcoming rounds after this one. It's in a 3v3 though, and a shuttle will hop his way in. He's going to see that utility pop off though, but thankfully it doesn't have to go too far to get out of the danger zone of that one, so we'll keep himself at the same amount of HP. Rest of his teammates will be the same for them, as they'll all now line up mainly outside of Death's door. It looks like, of course, you can see Iconic still on Repel in the distance. He's going to be the alternate angle here as they try to push their way in, but will this be enough strength to push past the interior sight setup from TSM? 2 in bar, 1 in the gun vault. Let's see how this holds. Well, we've got to wait another 10 seconds or so. Unfortunately, that last Toxic Babe just went out by the map room door.
This is going to be very, very difficult for Astralis still. They'll have Iconic managing Study. He needs this position. He needs to win this gunfight up against Bolo. Achieved more than likely. Can swing onto this player. Iconic moving in. He's actually got the angle inside of sight waiting for the swing here. And he's going to get it.
No!
He loses it out. It's a check here from Achieve. The nice shoulder shimmy will get him the kill. And the case is now down. Force sneaks in the back. He's got a triple kill and the pistol, but not enough time to be able to do anything. TSM with the round.
Forrest gaming his heart out there in the final 3 seconds, just spamming with his sidearm, hoping for someone to peek and maybe another kill to come his way. That was all he had to rely on, unfortunately, at that late point in the round, as TSM do too good of a job countering out the very aggressive start. And unfortunately, Astralis is not able to bring themselves back to a better point to bring that under their control. They even it back out, and they make it very close, all things considered here. TSM should have been able to hold it a little bit more prominently, but that is not the case, and Astralis still nearly get it done. But finally, a round is claimed regardless for TSM as it goes up on the board. But is it just a passing round, or is this the beginning of a streak and the beginning of a potential comeback? That is the question that will be phrased as we enter the second to last round of the half.
We will most definitely find our answer soon, as round 4 went swimmingly into TSM FTX's favor after their initial blunder from Astralis, swinging a 90 window that gifted them quite a few frags. Also, Chala finding one inside of Study that was quite pivotal to the overarching round. As for Astralis, though, it's back to the drawing board to try and figure out exactly what went wrong the previous round. And honestly, the big thing was just some missed shots. If actually Iconic takes down J90, if Iconic takes down, I believe, Achieved or whoever was playing inside of the gun vault at that time, he would have ended up winning the round. So it's just that close by a hair's margin. Astralis will lose out. And well, now we back into the map here to see if they can possibly take the same energy and apply it to Trophy and Statuary.
So let's see here now as TSM, of course, bringing a pretty straightforward setup to the table. The usual extension here into AVG that Gio will play. Won't have much support on that. Looking like that might be changing, though, as Achieved is rotating in. Merc as well playing it from a little bit more outside, more of a trade angle than anything from the top of the red stairs. And then you've got the other 2 players maintaining either site here and keeping watch in the event that Astralis try to go for a fast bedroom clear. You guys can see, of course, that is certainly not going to be the case. We have a 4-player repel stack outside of Study right now, so that will certainly be the focus, it seems, for this opening minute or so in terms of clearing out the AVG AVG extension.
No such thing as overcompensation when it comes to bodies in Rainbow Six Siege. You want to be close as you possibly can, especially after what we saw in our very first round of this game where Astralis practically bowled over TSM. Bolo, speaking of bowling, going to take some damage inside of Library. He'll be forced back into Living Room. And fortunately enough, he's got a pretty cool hand, so he'll just have to punch that a singular time. The hatch will pop open. He'll drop down into the basement.
Astralis still looking for their first opportunity to pick up a kill here. No success in clearing out things inside of AVG yet either. TSM is giving some respect to that as they slowly back away, but it's mainly on Astralis to control the pacing here and get their proper execute going. Shouldn't be too worried about it considering the track record that Forrest, at a minimum, and a few other players might have for themselves as well here. But there's a nice shot from Achieved, locking on to the head of DP Fire. And Iconic will fall to similar circumstances on the other side to Geo. Forrest, though, he's still in this, and he's going to find the first exchange by taking down Merc. But where do they go from here?
I'm even more scared for TSM in this situation because Achieved is now down and Bolo and Geo both have lower HP. This is completely doable now for Forrest and the rest of the team as they're going to make this a 3 versus 3. J90 now has steady control, knows someone's around bench, but he can't hit the shots. It's going to be Bolo instead that wins it out. And he'll continue to hold down this location. Quite the pivotal one as in the moment for TSM. Shuttle, and specifically Astralis, still extended out here towards the study side. He's around red. Bolo's going to just jump down and take the gunfight. He's going to immediately lose it. Now a 2 versus 2, and yet again, completely doable for Astralis. They still have a smoke in their pocket as well. They can completely deny an angle. There's a lot of opportunity here.
Such a harsh round for both teams. So many fights being decided by just these very intense angles where someone's going to hit a headshot pretty much immediately after swinging the corner, or they will immediately die. Shuttle with a potential good read here. Certainly here's the movement from Geo as he never really left the inside of bar, but is he going to fully read into this swing? Yes, he will. Geo, in fact, doesn't even expect it as that's a 3rd kill on the round now for Shuttle. Chala, the only one left, but the timing is so low. That's not going to matter, though. Forrest, race car peaks the Astro stairs and shuts down the last player as another aggressive 1v1 is taken by him and successfully won to give Astralis the round.
Slap in some octane fuel and step on the gas, my friend. That's what we're seeing from Astralis, but I think we got some things to talk about. Bolo, what are you doing? Why are we jumping down red and taking this gunfight for, my friend? And not only that, but you have the DMR. It's not exactly a close-range weapon that you want to try and fight somebody on a stairwell with, and Bolo practically gives the round over to Astralis. Geo's out in an extended roam. He has to try and come back. That's read into by Shuttle. And now all you have is Chala trying to wait inside a site to see where Astralis can possibly attack them from, but they have no other info to try and play into it. He's basically flying blind and trying to use audio in order to progress forward through the round.
So with TSM faltering once again, does that continue to be a trend, or is Astralis once more going to falter themselves on this upcoming attack? A few more repicks coming in as they're going to switch the Twitch over towards Iconic once again and just let Forrest go over to the 5.56 for the final. A bit of a dangerous switch considering the potential pitfalls of that gun, but we'll see how well he's trained on the OSA and what kind of strength he might be able to bring to the table, as I believe we already saw them do this once. I'm trying to remember if it was Forrest that went on the OSA, though. I think it might have been Iconic back then.
Yeah, I think it was Forrest. I would totally agree with you, but either way, Astralis back out and about here. TSM trying to find their 2nd round here. And just as a reminder to you guys, this is the more successful side for TSM's Villa. A 64% defensive win rating in comparison to a 54% on their offensive side. Yes, both still positive and both pretty good stats, but obviously one means a lot more than the other. So for Astralis right now, if they can get this 5-1, I mean, they're practically waltzing to a victory.
Astralis continuing to look for chances to get a quick insertion to clear out the upstairs position. Won't find it so easily, though, as no one is going to be taking a risk at this point, especially at this point in the game here. TSM knows the threats that are lurking around any type of aggressive position for them, as Astralis has a great track record with clearing those out, so it's not going to be too smart of a choice for TSM to hardlock into any of those, and okay.
They're planting!
Astralis just hard ignores the extension upstairs. They're going to waltz right in. The plant is down. This could be dangerous, though. Their other angles haven't found too much success just yet, so they have a very small window of control, but they're making it work anyway. Forrest getting himself a double before finally being traded out, but it's Bolo with his own personal one to bring them right back into the fight. Locked in a 2v2 now. It's J90 and DP Fire holding the line for Astralis. Geo and Bolo both trying to retake from Tarp side here as well. Keep in mind the low HP on Geo is going to make him hard to find a point to insert himself into this fight. He won't even get that chance. J90 cuts him off. It's only Bolo left. He's going to go for the aggressive swing swing down the pantry stairs, but it's read into by DP Fire. And Astralis will take one more round as it's a 5-1 half for them.
We were not lying. We were saying that these guys are practically driving a Ferrari through this map at the current moment, the way that these rounds are building up. An immediate basement execute out of Astralis completely catches TSM off guard, and not only that, Merc has a cardiac sensor, folks. You can see through walls. You can basically cheat, and he doesn't even know that they're there. It's just so very unfortunate for TSM at the moment, and now they're onto the offensive side, which requires even more coordination because you're the one now attacking. This is not looking good for TSM, and also I don't think this is looking too hot for Jesse J. Chick.
Certainly not, as his prediction percentage is about to drop down the rest of us here. The coin once again going to keep its lead over all 5 or 6 of us, however many we have in predictions at this point.
Can it just stop picking
we have
the
to
same
see,
things that I pick?
That's
what's
what's
making me so mad.
I haven't seen what Parker and Pengu's percentage is sitting at, though. That's the thing.
Well, Pengu's was 0 through like the first week, and then he started to come back slowly. I wonder what it is now. We'll have to see.
Because I know me and you are like in front right now. Like me, you, and then one other person are like really close for
Hey,
first.
man, some got it and some don't. What can I say?
Anyway, focusing up on this round here. Few repicks coming in, mainly just to bring the Nomad as well as the Lion in there on Geo and Chala at the bottom. Aside from that, everything stays the same. And we get an operator lineup that you would very much expect in the current state of Siege here. It really seems like TSM wants to try and lock down the members of Astralis as well here, mainly through the use of both the Lion and the Nomad, and then they have the insurance policy still on the Finca. I think we just got an update on our caster percentages, by the way, right? I think I heard a 46
Pengu
for one
and
of them.
Parker are both at a 46-64. 46%. So both of them below half. Pengu's got to stop copying notes off Parker. That's
easy W.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. We should have made a bet on this or something. Like, it'd be like stealing candy from a baby. And speaking of which, Astralis is trying to steal this map away from a less-than version of TSM FTX. Now they're getting into the map now. They'll be able to at least get rid of one of the Goyo canisters. They're taking some control down low, but with Forrest taking down Bolo on a very awkward angle, now what's the next move?
Finca's gone, so they're not going to be able to back up and reboost HP anymore. They'll lose probably both of those nades. They're trying to throw out some of the others now. As you can see, both Achieved and Merc have drained at least one of the 2 that they're given. There's the second one going out to open down a bottom-to-top angle from the looks of things. Not much overall success with that utility, though, and it's going to cause some problems as they get closer to the site. Forrest just picking off players now as he pretty much has an uninterrupted top-down angle. No one from TSM is able to lock that down themselves to trade onto him, so he's got free reign over the bottom of main stairs as a direct result of that.
Yeah, the fact that we just had that go down, that just shows the de-evolution of the comms from TSM right there. Bolo not able to exactly translate the angle that was being abused from Forrest, and they lose yet another body to it. And now the drone's starting to dwindle as well, but fortunately enough, they still have some to play with. Some beautiful shots here from J9 will light up Merc, and Merc's going to get hit by the cross as well. Forrest will now take him down to triple from the Tachanka this round, as it's looking like Astralis all day here for round 7.
It's really just Forrest all day at this point, at 15-2 right now here. Shuttle at 10-4. Chala finally going to be able to get one on the board here for TSM, but that's the only one they found so far in this round. Trading out onto DP Fire as well, one of the least impactful players in terms of frags, of course, that we've seen so far in this game. So pretty minimal loss to the situation for Astralis here as time continues to blunder down past the 45-second mark here. Forrest, this is going to be kill number 4. Let's see if we can get the ace, as it seems inevitable at this point.
An absolute
I jinxed it.
demon.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. No worries. You can see, John, they're all smiles. They're all happy about it. I can guarantee you Forrest is ecstatic at the current moment. 6-1, and not only that, but you're the IGL of the team, and you have, what, 18, 19 kills at the current moment? I mean, this is unprecedented.
This is way too clean from Astralis. This is dangerously clean for Astralis.
This is one of the, I'll be honest with you, this is one of the cleanest villas that I have seen in quite some time, where people are doing things that are actually new. John, people are doing new things in Rainbow Six.
And it's not even that like TSM are necessarily doing anything wrong. If you look at the core elements of their strategy, they're just getting outwitted in so many, like the early gunfights, the rotations they're trying to make inside of those gunfights, where members of Astralis just trap them. It's just all because Astralis is playing so darn well right now.
I mean, TSM came to this map and thought that they were going going to be playing checkers with Astralis, but Astralis are playing 4D chess. That's what's going on in the current moment. A lot of these strategies have been catching TSM off guard. They've been just getting kills on random site players. It has not been good when it comes to TSM's overall gameplay for this map. And I mean, even the last round with Fofo-san just able to do whatever he wanted to TSM, they was like, take my body. Like, I don't really care. Like, you can do whatever. It's just like, okay, guys, well, we need to figure this out. I don't understand the fact that Forrest is allowed to do what he's doing with these vertical angles.
Not even him, Shuttle, too. I mean, Shuttle's gone just as crazy. And if you, like I said, look at the scores. I brought them up last round. But once again, J9O, DP Fire, and Iconic, in terms of the fragging department, they barely had to do anything except for like 1 or 2 rounds where their teammates died and they needed to step up a bit. And they did, so.
Man, it is so hard to find some positive things at the current moment, especially with
there we go. There's a good start.
trying to take it to TSM. Merc's going to take a lot of damage, but now they're trying to fight back. They've doubled down. They've got the LMGs, but Merc's down as well. Is someone here to help him? They're not. J9O will find the equalizer, and the kill was so unbelievably strong that it may have crashed the server.
The server just couldn't handle the raw strength of Astralis in this game right now. They had to be like, all right, listen. This is the game talking, by the way. I gave TSM the hammer a few months ago. I'm looking real bad right now. I got to just cut this real quick, boys. Yank the cable real quick. But anyway, yeah, we'll get this working as soon as possible, folks. Stick with us here, and we will be back in game as soon as we are able to reestablish our connection. I'm pretty sure that affected the whole server, so more likely that round is going to get replayed. Yep. But we'll get confirmation on that in a second.
Yeah, absolutely. That's more than likely the case, but we'll have Larch on it in the back. You can see him currently talking to call out and seeing exactly what they can do about this, but it shouldn't be too long, folks. Especially because, well, we've only played 7 rounds, so our observer will more than likely have us back in momentarily. But fortunately
it's not like the scoreboard's too complex, you know?
Yeah. I think the biggest things to notate is that Shuttle was 10-4-1, and Forrest was
16-2.
16-2.
Yeah. Pretty sure that's where it was.
Ooh, man, that is a spicy meatball.
That was where it was the beginning of the round. I don't think he was the one that died, right?
No, he was not.
Yeah, so it would be 16-2 still.
It was Iconic. Just had to
way to call him out.
I mean, well, my bad, man. I mean, the guy's going for a superhero swing. I mean, you got to remember, Batman's only a billionaire. That's all he did. I mean, he just had money. He just had money, and he built some cool stuff. That was all he did. And then he fought crime, I guess.
So talking a little bit more about this amazing performance we have seen once again out of Astralis, and it's a lot of it, for me at least, has been inside of that early to mid-round portion here. They've just been controlling so much, at least on their attacking side here, controlling so much of it, not giving TSM really an inch to work with on their own extensions here, shutting it down, sometimes leaving themselves a little bit on a risky side as far as the time is concerned, but other times just not even caring about the extension. We saw that at least twice, mainly on the kitchen holds, where they just breached right into the site. We're like, we don't even care about these upstairs, but we're just going to go for it. And it works despite the risk involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, really, it's Astralis and their change of pace that they've had throughout the game, whether it be a super quick execute, straight into the site, just fight the site players, try and get the bomb down, or take some time, try and fight the roamers, and then immediately go for the execute after that. TSM doesn't have an answer for any of these. That's the biggest problem that we've seen so far. Even on the offensive side, where they're trying to get into the building, Astralis are still acting as though they're on the offense. They're fighting for every room in the entire map, tooth and nail, time and time again. And not only that, they're trading out either neutral or positive most of the time. And that is so very impressive.
And we did see that being curtailed a little bit at the beginning of the most recent round we were seeing, but as well, you could see the members of Astralis continuing to fight it because they know they have so much control over these situations, and they know that more than likely, TSM is giving them the respect they deserve because of that situation as well. So they're starting to abuse this a little bit now, getting a little bit too aggressive to an extent, as we saw with Iconic there, but hopefully this replay actually is probably going to, I would imagine, bolster the Astralis position even more, because now they're going to be like, okay, well, like, you know, we got to cool it down a little bit with that, boys. Like, don't go so crazy with the swings here. So I would expect even a more controlled start to this, as we are heading back into the server, but we might not be going back in game just yet, folks. We do have to make sure everything's correct before we resume play.
I'm going to play the devil's advocate here. I don't think that we're going to see that at all. I think that Astralis...
They're going to double down?
Yeah, they're going to double down, and they're going to maintain
You're probably
pacing right now. Well, because if you think about it this way, you know what's so strong about TSM? When they're actually able, even though they do it quickly, to set up and start working the map. And that is what Astralis are stopping. They're taking the fight to them immediately. TSM have no time to try and retaliate because they have to try and fight those people. They can't, oh, well, we're just going to leave them and just let them do what they want to do. That can't happen. So Astralis, they've definitely found the mark for TSM, especially here on Villa. But now that we're back into the map. Astralis will set things back up. And yes, it is indeed going to be confirmed that it is a full on-site replay, ladies and gents. So for Astralis and for TSM, they have to choose the exact same lineups and the same site for the defense for Astralis.
Yep, if there are any repicks, I'd imagine that rule applies to that just as well. So we should see those same repicks if there were any. I'm going to be honest, my memory's not that great, so I can't recall if there were, but it's looking like TSM have the solid lineup locked in anyway. So they're going to be spawning out in just a moment, and we will see if Astralis has the proper defense to curtail this play. And more importantly, if they're going to get as aggressive once again right at the beginning of this round by potentially taking that challenge over towards Study. It's not going to be in Study, but you can see Forest definitely trying to mess around a little bit here with the laundry swing.
Yeah, there's always something you have to worry about when it comes to the Astralis defense, at least from what we've seen thus far. TSM now working their way into the building. The initial drones will suss out Iconic top main, but he also has some verticality to actually abuse the main door downstairs as well. He's going to play around this area, has the SMG-11. I'm assuming he's got the shotgun as well as his primary. We've been seeing a lot of people use the FMG-9 recently, so always something to notate for your smoke player. His utility is just so unbelievably strong, and it has been for such a long time. So being able to shift over to the FMG whenever you need some, longer distance tools is always nice to have.
Already a minute into the round, a much quieter outcome to things. I believe I was correct, by the way, about what was going to happen in this round.
Yeah, but Force was swinging laundry, John.
True. Okay, fair enough. Fair counterpoint. But we do have Astralis continuing to sit primarily around the site. They've got a little bit of an extension, as you can see, across the halls primarily, right towards the living room area. But Merc indeed sneaking a little bit too close to Forest here. As Forest once again going to try to play into that position. He is going to be able to spot out this position. Forest, that is. Playing on the inside of Bicycle, but Merc not really moving from it. Not a whole lot that Forest can do about it in the current point in time, but it's looking like maybe we'll see someone try to swing over there and challenge this when they are ready to move themselves down. In the meanwhile, you will also see the Nomad currently being played by Chala, blocking up both of the rotation points to top red from the trophy side of things. Bolo as well will use the Gone 6 to quickly take out DP Fire's support point here behind this shield and make that overall position a heck of a lot weaker, potentially forcing him to rotate down fairly soon. But minute to go here, so TSM seems to be proceeding quite nicely, but it's not until we see them actually fight members of Astralis that we'll have a better idea about how this round is going to play out.
This is what I was afraid of, with TSM allowed to actually take some time and do some things. They're only down 3 drones at the current moment, which means that there is so much info coming their way as of right now, and we're about to find out, can Astralis stop a TSM execute? It's looking like it could really go either way. Iconic's going to be able to make some verticality upstairs because TSM was not worried about this location. They could go for something late up top, but we have a lot of different opportunities here. Does DP Fire turn around and see this drone either? Chala will get at least a trade here, but now Astralis is starting to pull ahead as it's a 4 versus 3.
Yeah, DP Fire with a big pickup there. He had been spotted out by a drone, but it didn't seem that TSM was aware of it. Chala with another fake find here, though. Trades it out again by eliminating Iconic. That's evened us up, but okay, TSM have stopped suddenly here. They're sitting outside of tarps right now. They only have 20 seconds left, so they need to move forward quickly here. The drop, they don't even realize that Forest is sitting on the inside of Laundry. He knocks down Chala. J9O with one more. It's all on Geo. He's got control of the chassis, but he's less than 5 seconds to clutch it out, and it's just not going to happen. Astralis dominate versus the world champions and take control of this matchup 7-1.
Well, it was a burner, but it was more of a pyre to lay TSM on top of, if anything.
Oh, what's this? What's this?
Oh, they powering up. There it is. There it is. I thought they were going to do the whole...
little work needed on that one, boys.
I thought they were going for the whole DBZ transformation. That's what I thought they were going for initially. But either way, I mean, this team, guys, this is something special that Astralis has on their hands.
Yeah, it seems like they've really created a winning formula here, and it's taking down some of the best this region has to offer, potentially multiple times as well here. This new Astralis seems to be on fire. Certainly a top 4 contending team, and maybe even further than that with that victory they just picked up. Top 2 is really in the future here for Astralis if they continue to perform just like they did today here versus TSM. And for the world champions, it's back to the drawing board yet again to figure out just what is going wrong in so many of these games, and more importantly, what they need to do to find their former form.
I don't even know what to say about TSM in the current moment. I mean, they just look like a shell of their former selves. I mean, for me, it seems like ever since the Chief shaved his head, everything's just been so very wrong. I don't know what's happened, but
some like bad vibes or something when he did that.
Bad juju.
There was something in the hair, man. I don't know. It was like one strand.
See, what he didn't tell you guys is when he shaved his head, he also shattered 7 windows. So it was just all not very, very good. But either way, I think that you and I have said our piece about Astralis and TSM. So we are going to send you guys to a quick break, and we'll be back with the Analyst Desk.
What you gonna do?
Well, it's official. The North American League has officially descended into chaos. This is Astralis' world, and we are just living in it. TSM taken down in insanely dramatic fashion. Astralis coming out on the bitter end of what was an incredibly fast game, trying to break XSET's record for land speed record over how fast a game can be won. And we've got Forrest on the other end to talk us through just what the heck happened. Apparently, the F in Forrest stands for frag or for F2, whichever you prefer. Dude, congratulations on the victory. What the hell are you guys doing that's working so well right now?
We're just playing our game. You know, we're not doing anything special. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're not trying to copy people. We're just playing a natural flow State of Siege.
Forrest, I want to ask you about moving over to this Astralis lineup, because you and Callout kind of came from CL together. You've been a duo, as been on the same team for a really long time now. Tell me about what it's been like moving from that Challenger League lineup, obviously your old days in Tier 1 as well, now moving on to Astralis as a duo, how that's been for you guys.
It's been a blast. You know, I always felt like him and I were always good enough still to compete at T1. It was more of like, you know, being able to prove it. Even though like we failed in Challenger League, I still believe that like the system we had was like, you know, like any team would be successful with it. Like the way Call sets it up and the player development and strats and such. And coming into Astralis, like he's really like flipped the table upside down, and, like reinvented the team.
Alrighty, and so in this game in particular, we found you not necessarily on the hard reach roll, the Habana that you've been playing. You had the F2, you were feeling a little bit more loose. Was that always the call on a map such as Villa, or are we just going to start seeing a frag in Forest in every single game we have?
I can't say too much about that, but it was more of you know, yesterday I was underperformed, I thought personally. I thought like, you know, it's kind of one-sided game, but like individually, I thought it was trolling. So I knew today, like, I just had to step it up, and you know, I brought that fire. You know, it didn't matter what op I played. Like, I just knew I was like, I'm smoking people today, no matter what.
As the newest team to take down the current reigning world champions, obviously you had to do plenty of breakdowns to make sure that this game was going to work in your favor. But if you had to say one thing to TSM, obviously they're struggling. Whether you want to uplift them and maybe find something that they aren't doing very well that you think they could fix, or if you want to trash talk, what would you say to TSM after that victory?
I mean, honestly, like, you have to be humble. I can't really trash talk them. They just won the world champion. Like, I just came from CL, like a bum. So it's like, what do I have to say, you know? So it's just like, I think TSM need to let their nuts hang more. They're kind of just like, kind of stagnant right now. Kind of like, let people do what they want to do. So like, they definitely need to like, start throwing punches back.
I think that's fair. Obviously, from what we've seen from TSM, it feels like they're on a very downward slope at the minute. But you guys, we'll pull up stats in a second to figure out how close you guys are to major qualification. But you are so close. So Forrest, congratulations on the win.
Yes.
International competition might just be on the precipice for you guys. Enjoy this one, and we'll hopefully see you next week.
Thank you.
All right, I do want to check this because TSM probably out of the major at this point, even if it's only by like the slimmest of margins. Astralis probably in, not mathematically confirmed. What are we looking at standings wise right now? I'm really curious to see this.
So if we bring them up with the leaderboards right now, I'm imagining they're probably top 2 at this point. They're over SSG for sure. SSG lost today, not quite number 1, but tied.
They have
with
one
OXG.
round behind OXG.
1 round differential. The numbers, Jacob, according to our good friends for Bunny, are that Astralis have a 94% chance, if every other game is a coin flip, of going to the major. SSG with that loss dropping down, or sorry, TSM with that loss, I should say, dropping down to 0.08.
Oh my God, we genuinely might have to accept a reality where the guys who just lifted a hammer 2 months ago are not about to make the next international event. This is real.
This is very real, and I guess we are not going to get a digest.
Oh no. Well,
I mean, he promised one after SI, so we're still kind of waiting on that one. Unless he released it and I missed it.
I mean,
Yes, but hey, at the end of the day, we have to relish in the era of Astralis. Forrest, he came in, he's one of my CL babies. He's graduated, he's flown so far away. And under all the names he's been under, whether it's Obama.Embers, Fofosan.XD, MonkeyPQ.Ape, United.
You're the worst.
He has been absolutely amazing to watch, and his growth as a player has been phenomenal. And finally, coming in, popping off this hard and such a big game against the former world championship. Amazing.
Let's just keep on drinking the Forest Kool-Aid for a moment because we've got a couple moments from Forest's game against TSM all lined up back-to-back to take a look at how this man not single-handedly dismantled TSM, but put himself at the forefront and got as many kills as he did.
he was excelling in so many different areas, right? Like we talked about the F2, and he was really going hard with that weapon, got so many kills on the attack, but there were so many more highlights, so many other things that he was able to accomplish for this squad. Obviously, still bringing the kit in a lot of these rounds. DP Fire picked it up a couple of times with the ace. He's a big player that's been able to push through and help out for us with the kit, but we're seeing these shots come through, being able to shut down a lot of the roamers from TSM and help out in the executes as well. You see Forrest going time after time after time. This is one of those more frag-heavy F2 rounds that he was pulling off on that first half. One after this will show off maybe one of those more plant-focused rounds that he's been able to pull through. Again, just the ability to be able to go back and forth with these different styles of play has been huge for his team on Astralis.
Yeah, and even though he's on the Twitch and getting frags, he still did a lot of support work. And across his attacking half, he was flexible enough. We even see, in just a little bit, you know, he's on the OSA.
Yeah, there it is.
And he gets the bomb down. He's setting up those OSA shields to facilitate the pushes in towards the, pardon me, the pantry side. Almost forgot what that call out was. That would have been awkward, but, and then sure, DP Fire is going to clean up this round, but he's sort of the initial entryway into the side of pantry and into the bomb site. absolutely huge.
Yeah, we didn't see it here, but also moving on to the defense. That Tachanka 4K when they started off their second half.
18!
Beauty of a play, and there it is. 18-2, 100 cost, 3-0 in entry. It just doesn't get better than that.
No, it doesn't. I think you couldn't have had a better performance if you tried. We were touting Sweater for being as good as he was in the previous game. He didn't have 2 deaths or 100% cost to go along with. I think Sweater was like 83% or something. And flawless entry.
Yeah.
There are so many things that Forest has done right in this matchup. Obviously, Shuttle right there, 10 kills in a professional match, still a good marker to hit. You don't even need to look at what Iconic and DP Fire have done for these past 2 days because it feels like Iconic and Shuttle just led the charge and never looked back.
Yeah, I mean, who cares? Like, Iconic and DP Fire, like, when you're winning 7-1 and your teammates are going that hard, especially Force and Shuttle, 2 of the players that nobody was really talking about when you look at Astralis, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is always supposed to be the Iconic show, DP Fire, Janero, the young guys coming in for the frags. Force and Shuttle are not the names that a lot of people are expecting to talk about when we have Astralis back in the NAL, but hey, they're the ones popping off today, and it just goes to show how deep this lineup really is.
Well, I mean, we would break more of this game down, but regrettably, there's just not that much of this game to break down in the first place. Over in just 8 rounds, and TSM absolutely in the gutter. Astralis on the precipice of getting to their first ever international competition in Rainbow Six history, just 6 months after getting picked up by the organization, and the defending world champions, barring some absolute miracle over these last 3 days, will not be going to the May Major. Gentlemen, final thoughts.
I mean, Astralis, they're looking so good, and only a fool would bet against them, as that seems to be what I am today. So, yeah, Astralis look way too good. Never doing that again.
You know, I have to respect you for, just being a man and taking it. When you're wrong, it takes a real man to say that you're wrong. Sure, the coin was correct, but I would have agreed with the coin if I was actually given a platform to stand upon. But no.
You're literally standing on a box right now. The camera can't see
look at the
it,
short
but we
guy with
can.
the box. Look at him.
Your box
Anyways,
is like 4
Jacob,
times
what's
my
the next
size.
game?
I mean, what? Can the camera actually pan around and see the box? Like, are we cool with that?
Possible.
Can we? I mean, he does have a platform.
think he
Wait
can
for it.
reach.
There it is.
No way that reaches.
No, I see it. I see it right there.
Yeah, it does.
I am on like a 1-inch
Meme
box
dog.
because Jesse is on a 5-inch box.
Well, they can't see that. I'm confident the camera can't make that angle happen.
I mean, you and Jess are both so short that the 2 of you need to have the same box. Connor just needed a little bit of a confidence boost.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
It happens.
And I also think both the next teams that we've got coming up also need their own confidence boost because our last matchup of the day, Dark Zero against the Sonics, still major implications for Dark Zero if they're trying to bust into top 4. And the Sonics, at this moment, they're just trying to see if they can't get their second dub in the league. We'll have that game coming up right after short break. Don't go anywhere.